Hello! It is Wednesday, July 15th, McAfee and Hawk Sports Talk. I am Pat McAfee, sitting over my shoulder on a throne, and next to me from Wisconsin, the very skinny-looking AJ Hawk.
Is that a compliment? You calling me skinny looking? Should I take it that way?
Yeah, I think you should, man.
Yes.
You look like you're in the best shape of your life, super fit, ready to run a marathon.
John. Ready to run a marathon, yeah. Good luck with that one. I couldn't run a marathon on an elliptical, so I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, sometimes I feel skinny. I guess I'm not like a power lifter. I work out, but I don't really lift for bulk. I'm almost 240 pounds, so if that's skinny, then hey, I'll take it.
Almost 240 pounds. You said you were working out in a lake last week. Now you're in like a village in Wisconsin, right? You're in like a one of those things on the lake. Have you been able to maintain the workout schedule here, or is that why you're kind of dissipating and disappearing in front of our eyes?
I might be disappearing because I just secured my an Anytime Fitness weekly pass yesterday. So I was able to head out there this morning. I've been in a lot of improvised workouts. Like when I was in Tahoe last week, I'd get up every morning, 5:30, get in the lake, push-ups, like the old school Rocky type workout. I have bands that I'm doing stuff with. So it's not the typical type workouts that I get, but it's a good change up, I think. Everyone needs to change it up every once in a while so you don't get too used to what you're doing and you don't get bored, I guess, in your workouts.
Is there anything more offensive to you than when somebody says you look like you have no muscles? Because that's what I was trying to do.
I guess I don't get offended very often, but if someone was dead serious and they said that, maybe I would be a bit offended. I don't know if I'd be offended. I would just be motivated. Like, all right, cool. I'm going to be 300 pounds now. And I'm going to get on all the juice.
Oh, AJ, you take a couple weeks off, look like a little bitch over there. Okay, nice to see you've stopped working out. That's very nice of you. I
say that sometimes. I've told my wife that. I told her, I said, I see all these big old linemen losing a bunch of weight. I said, what if I just got down to like 180? She said, first off, there's no chance you get to 180. And if you get to 180, I'm leaving you.
Whoa.
Jeez.
It's not about how you look on the outside, by the way. It's how you are on the inside. And I think that's why the Hawk family does so well over there, because it's good inside souls. I like that your wife, though, is like, listen, you want to be a scrawny little scrub. That's okay. Just get the hell out of the house. Okay? Get the hell out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she didn't marry that guy. I mean, she's fine with it. She has no issues with people that are 180 pounds, but when you're naturally like 230, you probably shouldn't get down to 180.
I'm naturally like 225, 230 as well. It's weird because I think if I was to get lazy, I'd go 300, 350, which I almost was, I guess, this past fall. But those guys that go super thin, like Yonda, what Yonda was able to accomplish, and I think he's still trying to get down even more. And then Faneca, what he was able to do whenever he retired, and Joe Thomas now, who's like a shredded machine. I'm very impressed by that. But how long does it last? At what point do you just tap out and say, you know what, I'm going Charles Barkley. I'm fucking out.
Well, it seems like those guys that lose all that weight, like a Joe Thomas, you look at him, we watched him on the Titan games. Is that what it was called?
He won by like that much. Hey, he got a W, which is all that matters. But boy, he was this close. Victor Cruz, I watched him lose to a Cirque du Soleil aerial artist the other day. Tough look for Victor Cruz and for the NFL, because The Rock was like, Cirque du Soleil versus the NFL here. And I'm like, all right, fucking Victor, let's go. This is for all of us. And that Cirque du Soleil guy did not get tired. That son of a bitch was ready to go. But Joe Thomas got a big W for us. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that becomes their lifestyle. Like Joe probably, with how skinny he is and he's shredded, he's probably thinking like, wow, I'll never go back to what I was. He seems like he's more comfortable now, I guess.
Well, he was on a gravy train with biscuit wheels.
Yep.
Is that what he said?
That's his saying, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that something I should have known?
Yeah.
Very popular saying.
Yeah.
Be with Joe, or is that like a lot of big guys that got small say that?
I'm not sure. Joe brought it into my life. So it's Joe Thomas's quote, in my eyes, but it might not be his. That Tomahawk show he does with Andrew Hawkins was very good. Very, very good. Yeah. I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah. I've known Hawk for a while. I think he's awesome. So is Joe. So yeah, it's good. It makes sense why they're a good pairing, I think.
Good conversations. Good conversations. Good push. Now, Twitter put them right in the middle of the Twitter Sports Super Bowl Radio Row thing, which is very nice of them.
Yeah.
What's that mean? What is it? I don't get it.
It means Twitter was like, here you go. We'll give you an entire setup for your fucking show. I'm like, well, I'm like 45 times bigger than both of them. Not a single message to me from Twitter. Fuck off.
Here's the broom closet, though.
See you later.
Wait, you mean Twitter put a setup for them at Radio Row and not like, is it on like Uninterrupted or whatever platform it's on?
I don't know. This was last Super Bowl, I guess. They had a big old setup there on Twitter Sports. So people know they're good, and Twitter loves them. I just wish, maybe a little bit of respect from the little Chirp Chirp Birdie app to me. I put a lot of hours on there, and I feel like I've been rather loyal. And let's move on. Speaking of putting a lot of hours in and being very loyal to a team, Dak Prescott, there is 2 hours and 51 minutes left until Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys can work an extension. If not, he will be under the franchise tag for the next season, earning himself $31.4 million guaranteed. Woo! With the potential chance, I guess, to re-up after this season or get franchise tagged again. He is now the third quarterback in the history of franchise tags and the NFL to play on the franchise tag if that happens, obviously after 4 o'clock. Drew Brees did it with the San Diego Chargers. He leaves town. Kirk Cousins does it with the Washington Redskins twice. He leaves town. So history says that Dak Prescott will play this franchise tag, maybe get it again even, but not end up being a Dallas Cowboy long term. If you're Dak, how do you feel? Are you pumped about $31.4 million guaranteed? Because if I'm looking at that piece of paper, I'm like, fucking A, here we go.
Yeah, he's got to be a bit torn, I would imagine. I'm sure, you're excited. Okay, I'm going to be the starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys for another year. I make $31 million guaranteed, but he doesn't feel like he has that long-term security that he wants from the team. Like, hey, you think I'm your guy? You're willing to pay me $31 million for 1 year. Why don't you think you should give me 5-6 year extension and give me big time money for down the road? Like, that's where he's got to be thinking. But so if he doesn't do it today, though, he will become a free agent when the league year starts next March, right?
No, after the season, they can negotiate. There's another window after the season before free agency to work a long-term deal. I actually had that happen after I got franchise tagged. The day before free agency, we worked a 5-year deal or 4-year deal. So I never hit the market, but I was franchise tagged the year before. So they could still potentially do that. But I guess a 5-year deal was offered to Dak Prescott numerous times, but Dak wants a 4-year deal. Cowboys want a 5-year deal. And we've been told by everybody around the Cowboys and that knows the organization that is literally the only holdup is a 1-year difference. So that's very interesting to me because it feels like it's much bigger than just a 1-year difference there. $33 to $35 million was offered with over $100 million guaranteed. So if you look at that, if they know that the Cowboys want a 5-year deal, that means 3 years of that deal was guaranteed. The other 2 were not. Locks him in for 5 years as opposed to what Dak wants for 4. So everybody's assuming he's not going to sign that deal. They're not going to get a deal done. But it's interesting because he could potentially get 37.4 or something next year if he gets franchise tagged, or 37.9 if he gets franchise tagged again. I don't see them running into this situation next free agency. I don't. There's no way that they end up franchise tagging him again. You would think they'd get the deal done. I think that they're trying to see if he and Mike McCarthy are going to work. I honestly believe that. Like, I think now granted, they made him a $100 million guarantee already, so maybe I'm wrong in thinking that. But I assume there are some questions like how are Dak and Coach McCarthy going to get along? What's he going to look like there? And by the way, with McCarthy's history with quarterbacks, if Dak has his best fucking year this year, that money's only going to go up. So they could have paid him last year. They chose not to. Now they're franchise tagging him. And next year, if they're going to pay him, it might go up even more with what McCarthy will be able to do with that offense. We assume he'll be better than Clapper, clap on, smile, clap on, clap off. Jason Garrett. I just assume McCarthy could do that.
Can I ask you guys a question? So, like, if he plays on the franchise tag this year, it's $31.4 million. But say he tears his shoulder up this season or something like that, and then
Lloyd's of London.
So is it worth the trying to do a 4-year deal versus a 5-year deal where you're going to have $100 million guaranteed? Just that 1 year is worth turning down all that money.
He probably has a $100 million insurance policy, if I had to guess, and that is.
But that's probably only if it's a career ender. It's not like, hey, he missed 1 season. It's like you can never play football again. My
Lloyd's of London or whatever it was, I had to get my leg basically sawed off, but it couldn't be my own doing, and it had to be an accident and it had to be around football. So I kind of got scammed into paying a lot of money, but I felt really comfortable knowing that if somebody ran onto a football field with maybe a saw attached to their elbow and took my fucking kicking leg off and I couldn't get a long-term deal, I would have got, I think, like $30 million or something like that. So that was nice to know in the back of my head that if that leg got sawed off and I could never kick a ball again, I would have got $30 million. And I'm happy I paid $50,000, $60,000 for that insurance policy just because everybody said it was the right thing to do. And I was like, reading through this, I don't think it is, but I got somewhere to be, so I'm not going to fucking battle about this. Just take my money. Let's move forward. Wow.
Well, don't you think there must be something weird in the language of the contract, like for Dak not to accept if he's going to get between 33 and 35 a year with 100 or more guaranteed? You would think, like, on face value, yeah, he's going to sign it. Why wouldn't he take that? So there's got to be something in the wording, or that they could cut him loose after 2 years and not like owe him anything else. There's something in the language that he doesn't feel comfortable about, because I feel like that money would get it done.
33 to 35 million. Patrick Mahomes getting what, 45 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's $10 million less than what you just saw somebody sign for, who has an MVP and a Super Bowl championship. And
who's the second? Who's second place in average per year? Is it Aaron or Russell Wilson getting 34 or 35? What is it?
Russell, I believe.
Russell, I think.
But also Patrick's not getting that 45 until like year 3 or 4.
But if you look at the overall deal, right? If you look at the overall deal. So that's probably where Dak's team is at. Like, we need 35 to 40 as opposed to 33 to 35. We'll take $5 to $6 million less than Patrick Mahomes, but we can't be doing that. We got to set the table. I guess his agent, too, is a guy that says, hey, we're going to get all the money. Like, I guess that's his agent is let's get all of them. Not that every agent isn't, but I guess this guy is a hard nose. We want all the money that you could possibly get. But the Cowboys have paid so many people. I don't know how they would even have enough money to pay them potentially. If you look around at that team, they've re-upped, I think, 7 players within the last year or two. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money owed to a lot of people. It's just like the Chiefs. How did the Chiefs pull off this stone-cold Chris Jones deal? Nobody knows. Nobody has a clue. And they have a couple offensive linemen coming up here in like a year or two that they're going to have to keep around. Tyrann Mathieu is going to come up. Travis Kelce's going to come up. Tyreek Hill is going to come up. There's going to be a lot of decisions to be made down the road on contracts and renegotiations. But if you're the Chiefs, you're like, hey, for at least the next couple years, we got a fucking squad at this point. But we have very, very little room in the salary cap.
Hey, Pat, when it says, like, I don't know, I'm not 100% clear what this means. When it says right there for Chris Jones, so $60 million is guaranteed for injury. We hear that a lot. What does that mean? If he gets hurt this year and he can never play again, he still gets $60 million?
Yeah, I don't know. This language has just come out recently. Because Patrick Mahomes, the guarantee was for injury. I was like, well, what is the full guarantee? I would like to hear what the full guarantee is as opposed to just what the guarantee for injury is. And it's like almost the guarantee for injury has become like the new like rollout for the contracts. And I don't know what that means either. Like, can we find out when that money's guaranteed? What if there isn't an injury? What money is guaranteed? What if there's poorer performance than what is expected? What's the guarantee? Like, those are numbers I want to hear, but it feels like the media's new rollout is, well, the guarantee for injury is this. It's like, okay, so that's like a Lloyd to London already built into the contract then? Like, if he can't play or if he gets hurt 1 year, I don't really understand a lot of the lingo language that they're putting out either.
Yeah, I don't. I wonder. I assume the teams have some kind of insurance policy on these big contracts, don't they? Like a Patrick Mahomes contract, don't they? Do you think the Chiefs have some kind of insurance to where if Patrick Mahomes is hurt after 2 years, the insurance pays the rest of his deal or something?
That would make a lot of sense. And now that I think about it, I can't believe that I haven't thought that probably happens, because it was like whenever you go to the scramble golf tournaments or celebrity golf tournaments and there's a car for the par 3. That's just insurance. Like, the car dealership just gets an insurance deal out for whatever it is. Yep. And then the insurance pays it if it hits. And I always thought these car companies were like such nice people. Look at these motherfuckers offering up a Jeep right here. If I put this 145 into the pin, they're like, no, we don't. That's insurance will be paying for that. We put up like maybe $2,000, make $1,500 donation. But aside from that, it's insurance paying it. I would assume that NFL teams would do the exact same thing. What's up, Diggs?
I have the definition of injury guarantee from NFL.com. If a player is released but is currently unable to perform football duties, i.e. doesn't pass a physical as a result of the team activities, the player is entitled to any money in his contract protected against injury. An injury-only guarantee is the most common in terms of partially guaranteed money.
What if he gets cut and they don't like him? Let alone if he can't pass the physical. What if he somehow, in their eyes, doesn't live up to the expectation level? Do they still owe him that money, or is it strictly an injury thing? That's why I don't love the way the media has been rolling out these contracts. You know, I don't love the way
I think it's confusing, isn't it? It's already confusing enough, but when you say the overall guarantee, and then we keep hearing this injury guarantee,
there's no overall guarantee being said though. Like, I want to know what Patrick Mahomes' overall guarantee is. Like, they've only said
Yeah,
the
like if he gets cut tomorrow, what does he get? What is he? What is guaranteed to him?
This is from Sports Illustrated. They say if a player has guaranteed money for injury and they're healthy, then the money guaranteed for injury is lost when the player is cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we need to know what the guaranteed money is. We haven't been told what guaranteed money is for anybody. Because I said, what's Patrick Mahomes' guarantee going to be? That has to be like $200 million guarantee or whatever, because that was the number they were aiming for going into this offseason. Everybody was saying, no, Patrick Mahomes is going to get $200 million guaranteed, $200 million guaranteed. You look at the salary cap saying no chance. Now they get this extendo deal, $500 million. And all they kept saying was the injury guarantee is $140 million. It's like, well, what's the actual? I would like to hear what the fucking actual guarantee is. And I would assume at this point, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs don't want people to know what the actual guarantee is. And we've moved past it. Hey, here's the injury guarantee. Now there's really no upside to letting out what the actual guarantee is. I feel like we missed it already for the Patrick Mahomes deal. Who knows if we'll do that for the Dak deal?
On the opposite side of that, do you think that agents are trying to figure out what that guarantee is, like Dak's, so that they can negotiate theirs?
They can study the contracts. All the contracts are put out there. Like I don't know if his full contract is out there yet or not, but like a guy like Andrew Brandt, I'm sure could tell you that.
Did you ever get any contract? He signed you to a long deal, didn't he, Andrew?
Andrew was there when I signed my rookie deal, yeah.
He said you came in, you just got done with a workout, like classic AJ Hawk. Like, I'm going to work harder than everybody. I'm coming in to sign my rookie contract. 5th overall, sweating and in sweats. Here you go. Thanks a lot, Andrew. See you later. He told us that story. But was there did you have any interesting negotiations with anybody? Did you re-up with the Packers? How many times?
Yeah, I re-upped right after the Super Bowl, right before the lockout happened. I signed a new 4 or 5 year deal with them, and then I took a couple pay cuts with them in the couple years after that.
Oh, so they were like, hey, AJ, by the way, what we said and what we need now, we need to potentially renumber these.
I got it. I get it. So I knew it was coming. I understood. I didn't take it personal.
And so, see, for me, my first, after the franchise tag, the deal that I was being negotiated or whatever, I wanted it to be at a price, and this is going to sound very interesting to people because you would assume that everybody just wants as much money as possible. I wanted to be at a price where if I had 2-3 bad games, that I wasn't potentially just going to be like, hey, this guy's cap casualty for next. Because there are some kickers and punters that come in and they set the bar for how much money they make. Well, I'll tell you what, you just have one little drought, there will be a cap casualty conversation in our position to see you get out. So finding that number where it's you're comfortable, you're making enough money where you feel like your worth is being respected, but also let's not get too much because boy, there's either a renegotiation or a cut coming. Those things really bite people in the ass in my position. I didn't know that you had to renegotiate with the Packers a few times. That's like Tom Brady. It's all Tom Brady used to do. What's up, Tom?
Looking at the Mahomes deal, at sporttrack.com, which has break down all the deals. So in 2022, if he's released, it's $31 million against the cap to them, dead cap hit. Every single year after that, it's $2 million or less to the team if they cut him after that.
What's all the money going into 2022 in that cap hit?
So $5 million this upcoming season, $25 million the year after. 2022 is $32 million.
So that's $62 million right there, right? If I just did the math real quick. So that's $62 million.
I don't know if that's a guarantee, but I'm just saying if they cut him any year after that, it's only $2 million dead cap.
How did they work
or
that
less.
out? How is it only $2 million in dead cap?
Well, that's what
I don't know. I'm excited to see if this is one of those classic NFL contracts. $500 million, $4 million guaranteed. That's how contracts always used to be. Yelling from the top of their
they
lungs.
took most of that out.
What's that?
They definitely used to be that way, where all the non-likely to be earned incentives were in there. Now that doesn't happen as much, but they can still finagle it a little bit.
That's an interesting little sport track thing there that Diggs just pulled up there. That makes no sense how they negotiated that deal. Andy Reid and Veach, when we talked to Chris Ballard, who just got voted amongst all the other executives as the most trusted executive or something like that, the Indianapolis Colts GM, friend of the show, he talked about, I asked him, I was like, who do you look around at GMs and you go, I could learn something from that person or whatever. He said Veach is a wizard when it comes to contracts and drafting and everything like that. So you put him and Reed together, I assume it's probably helping out a bit.
Well,
Hey, you're getting blurry. I want to let you know.
What?
I'm almost getting seasick over here. Every 7 to 8 seconds you get blurry over there.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. But doesn't it seem like Patrick Mahomes, he is it's a fair deal? They say in a negotiation, you want both sides to feel like they reached a fair agreement. Like they both feel somewhat happy or satisfied with it. It seems like with Patrick Mahomes seems very happy with his supposed $500 million, and the Chiefs seem like they're okay. We structured this thing, we made it work to where we can still fill out the rest of our roster.
Anytime you see the player incredibly happy about the deal that they just signed, and then you hear people talking about how the player got ripped off somehow, that's probably a sign of like, okay, a deal is happy on both sides here. Like the $502 million price tag on that deal, I don't care how much you think it's potentially going to lose out on because they did such a long-term deal. Let's say they lose out on $50 million potentially, which is a lot of money, in a massive amount of money. But if you look at the deal and being able to sign for $500 million in the middle of a pandemic and a quarantine, I think that is a good deal. If I am going from no money to $500 million over the next 10 years, I don't know how to say this. Like, I understand that the stats and math and people can, on paper, what you say if that's a good deal or a bad deal. But if somebody is agreeing to pay you $502 million and you don't come from a bazillion dollars and it's to do something that you're very good at and a lot of other people do it for a lot less and you'll be at the top of them, that's a good deal in my eyes. Like, that is like $502 million deal is a good deal. Now, granted, this thing could be loaded with incentives that aren't attainable, like you talked about how old school contracts used to be. But god damn, him getting a $502 million offer, the Chiefs being able to keep their guy for long term. I mean, it does feel like this is a win-win. But all these people, I think, who are bad at or maybe have never been a part of an actual negotiation and like maybe coming to an agreement from a business standpoint, and their jobs are just to talk about things, but they don't actually do said things. Like in a negotiation and in a business arrangement, like both sides have to give some things up. So what did Patrick Mahomes give up? Patrick Mahomes gave up his future rights 6, 7, 8, 9 years from now, who he might be 3-4 times Super Bowl champion at that time, and the salary cap might be different, which I assume a renegotiation would be very fair at that point if the salary cap was but that's what he gives up. And what do the Chiefs give up? The Chiefs give up $500 million over the next 10 years. So it's like there has to be give and take in those things. And I think that gets forgotten about where they're like, this person should win this negotiation outright, or this person should win the negotiation outright. It's like, that's not how business works. Like, that is just not how things go about it. And I think that I asked Ian Rappaport yesterday, if the Cowboys could have got a Patrick Mahomes Chiefs like deal done with Dak Prescott, would they have done it? And he said they would have done it yesterday if they could. I'm like, is that something Dak would have turned down then? If they offer him $350 million over the next 10 years, like, is Dak going to turn that down? That's an interesting. That seems like Ian Rappaport said they would do that. If they keep from the price that they're saying they offered, just extend that thing 10 years, would that have got the deal done?
I don't know. What's holding him up? Like, honestly, what is holding up Dak in the Cowboys? Like, has Jerry said anything more publicly about this?
Everybody said it's the 5-year versus 4-year. 5-year versus 4-year. Dak Prescott wants a 4-year deal. Cowboys want a 5-year deal. 1 year seems like, I don't know. That seems like something in business that you could figure out. But let's say they doubled it to a 10-year deal and it was worth $370 million, $37 million average. Would Dak have taken that? I would assume, right? I mean, $370 million on a piece of paper, that's going to be hard to say no to.
Well, and it'd probably be like the same deal with Mahomes, too. He feels like if he's going to play well enough, then he's going to be able to renegotiate that when he originally wanted to, like why he wanted a 4-year instead of a 5-year deal.
No, I just think people forget about business as a lot of relationships. Like, you know what I mean? And if you're just going in with war, like that's inevitably going to be a problem, as it was for Drew Brees and the San Diego Chargers and Kirk Cousins in the Washington Redskins. It's like, that is not a good way to figure things out. That's why I'll be very impressed if the NFL and the NFLPA get this guidelines and health and safety and money thing finished in 13 days, which, by the way, Aaron Jones, running back for the Green Bay Packers, said he's been on a couple Zoom calls with the NFLPA, and he was optimistic that they'll be in camp and ready to go. So that's a lot different than anything we've heard from anybody, but boy, I'm hoping so.
I am too. And it seems like the Oakley, the mask that covers your mouth and everything, that seems like a real thing that people legit think is going to be worn right now.
These are the same people that say in business a bad deal for somebody to get a 500. These people have never been a part of something before. There's no way that thing. Maybe the punters and kickers will be strapped up with those. Maybe.
Yeah, punters and kickers can wear them. You shouldn't have an issue if you're a punter or kicker, but everybody else. First off, just wearing a visor over the top part of your mask is very difficult for some people. I know when I looked, it would take a lot of time for me to get used to that, let alone having it extended down to where it's covering my mouth and nose. Oh, they're like, oh, there's little air holes there. Okay, well, cool. Then COVID can spit out through these air holes too.
You know what? I forget who tweeted it. I think it was Andrew Brandt that tweeted it. The Oakley mask thing could be quite a topic of discussion when it comes to the rollback into football, because the players are like, hey, player safety will not be compromised. Then the NFL is going to be like, okay, we got these masks from Oakley that will help out everything and really get us to be able to do this. And the players are going to be like, we're not fucking wearing those. And they're like, well, I thought it was for safety. And then if they really wanted to, that could become a grandstand moment for both sides there. And like I've said here a couple times already today, 13 days until training camp is supposed to happen. That is not a lot of time to get these things figured out.
Could the players come back and be like, yeah, well, breathing is also pretty big for player safety?
Yeah, but then they're like, well, COVID, though. You don't want to breathe in COVID. Like, you got to remember, that will become... Now, I'm hoping that Roger Goodell knows that he's not going to be a part of another CBA negotiation 10 years from now. And it feels like Roger Goodell is potentially trying to change his image and trying to do things a little bit differently. And maybe that makes the NFL-NFLPA agreement here in the next 13 days easier. But if this is anything like the CBA negotiations, the past two, or anything else when it comes to the NFL and NFLPA, there's going to be a lot of conversation for the next 13 days. And unless they're both willing to kind of go to work together, like the NHL and the NHLPA were, there was a spirit of cooperation, Pierre Maguire says, by both sides. Unless that is the case, which has not always been the case in these type of conversation, they do not have a lot of time.
There's no time. That's the thing. And I think the mask thing, if it does, like, let's say the NFL takes a hard stance, like, hey, every helmet is going to have this mask on, this new Oakley mask. We've done studies. It'll cut down the transmission rate 30%, whatever they claim it will do. I don't think it's something the players would take a stand and sit out for and be like, hey, no, this is a sticking point. You would think, okay, obviously I want to play football this year. If I have to wear this mask for us to play football, or if I don't wear it, we're not going to have a season this year. I would imagine eventually the players will give in.
Aaron Jones said, I just want to play football. And I think he echoes the sentiments of a lot of people. Now, granted, he's going into a contract year, so this is a very important year for Aaron Jones. But he said that he's planning on July 28th checking in training camp, and he just wants to play football. So that's a good message that's getting out there, as opposed to like the normal in this situation is like, no, we're not doing unless this, and this. It feels like Pierre Maguire said with the NHL, a spirit of cooperation. But boy, oh boy, there's going to be some shit that pops off in the next 13 days. The good news is for all that stuff, though, they can kind of roll out a guideline to get back to work, and there isn't pads or helmets until like 3 weeks later. Mm-hmm. So they have 13 days to figure some stuff out. And then if they can agree to that, how we get back into this, then we do the OTA style, then the strength and conditioning, then the unpadded practice and the padded practices. And we'll figure that as we go, TBD. That's probably the right move to get back into it. Let's figure this out first, and then we'll figure that out as we go. Because then guys will be able to see it a little bit. They'll be able to try it out maybe in the locker room, or they'll ask guys to maybe wear it during some walkthroughs, like, how do you feel about it? And they'll be able to get a real sense of it. But there's going to be little things like that. As small as that Oakley mask is, that could become a massive conversation. As small as the timing of practice can be, that can become a massive conversation. What about where guys are staying? How many people can stay in places? I mean, there is a lot of things that have to get figured out. And I just hope I hope they can figure it out. I hope they make it happen.
What about just drinking water? You know how we've talked about, like, we hate when guys sit there and act like they're in the middle of the Sahara Desert and they're dying, and they just open their mouth and trainers come and squirt water into their mouth. Yeah, exactly, with your hands on your hips like that. That's not going to be allowed. Like the new protocols, you're going to have to, everyone, I guess, maybe have their own water bottle. Is that going to be another thing they got to, like, there's so many tiny details they have to work out, I feel like.
Well, and then the trainers too, they have to have masks on. Equipment managers, they have to have masks on. Like, what, are we getting tested every day we're going in there like the NHL, or you're not? Like, there is. Hey, but the MLS made it happen. Hey, the MLS made it happen. Yeah. The NHL's making it happen. The NBA's made it happen. Unless they keep getting that bubble penetrated, which is going to be tough, I think, with humans down there, and needs and wants and, you know, distractions and being locked.
Hey, do you know how the perimeter of the bubble works? Like, is there like an imaginary line with guards, or how do they do it?
No guards, I don't think. I think there's just an imaginary line. I mean, because the bubble is so large, there's golf courses, there's fishing ponds, there's numerous hotels.
Water park.
There's
so
all
the
that
NBA just took over everything, though. There's no normal people anywhere. There's
well,
no, like,
in the animal kingdom, there are people, and I don't know how many trees away that is. That could be where they're trying to get the thoughts in through, to be honest with you.
The park, Disney World, is open to the public.
So there's a lot of things. I don't know how I don't know how, to be honest, I don't know how for 30, 35 days at least, at minimum, 35, 40 days at minimum, they're going to be able to keep that thing clean. But only 2 people tested positive down there, I guess. They tested everybody. Will those numbers remain, hopefully, because I think that is a case study for a lot of other sports on what's going to happen. The MLB is interesting, though. I think the MLB is much more similar to what the NFL could be as opposed to any other sport, because the NHL is going into hub cities. The NBA is in a hub, in a bubble. The MLS is in a bubble. The MLB is working in their own stadiums. They'll be traveling around. I think they'll probably have eyes on how that works out too while training camp happens.
So where's baseball at right now? Are guys at the facilities? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Stadiums. They're at their individual stadiums. Like Toronto Blue Jays players were told, if you leave the stadium, it could be a $750,000 fine and jail time. I mean, fucking lock it up, boys. Stay in here, swing the bat, don't look at anybody, don't even think about looking at anybody.
Yeah, don't spit, don't take a shower in here, don't do anything. That's another, like, okay, so can NFL players spit on the field? That's the thing. Baseball, in their protocol, said no spitting.
Bro, those bear crawls that used to have to happen on fields, and you're doing a bear
You're not
crawl.
doing up downs anymore. Hey, that's a great thing. You can't do any up downs right in the middle of the field.
But there's nothing like just like, yo, I puked on this field, yesterday? Now we're doing bear crawls. I couldn't even fathom the amount of spit and tobacco and sweat that's on here. And I'm just bear crawling on this turf that has obviously been cleaned out. I mean, of
course.
Not only are your hands burning because the turf is so hot, but then you're tired and your legs are burning. But then once that starts creeping in, like, what am I touching right now? Then it's just like a misery of that entire thing. But boy, there's going to be a lot of changes. Have to. Can't do it.
You know, the good thing, something that may come from this, Pat, maybe we'll just get rid of mouthpieces in the NBA and in the NFL. Since it seems like every NBA player wears a mouthpiece. Now NFL players, hopefully because of all this, a new protocol, hey, that really transmits a lot of stuff. Let's just take mouthpieces out of it, get all that saliva. Don't even have to worry about that.
You have to be the only NFL analyst in the history of NFL or football saying, hey, just ban the mouthpiece. Just fucking get rid of it. It's a problem.
If you want to be safe, ban that mouthpiece. You'll be safe on multiple different levels because of that.
Go on. What's the other level aside from COVID?
Well, A, COVID, less transmission of COVID. B, your brain health is going to be so much better because that's garbage science that the mouthpiece helps protect you from concussion. So it's a twofer, as they say.
I didn't wear a mouthpiece. Felt like a real G. What'd you have? Just one of those basic little tiny ones?
No, I didn't wear them. I stopped wearing a mouthpiece when I was 19. It was the greatest decision I ever made in my life, probably.
Wow.
Those refs didn't care to check your mouth to see if you had a mouthpiece in? Wow, it's crazy.
In college, you mean?
In NFL.
NFL, you don't have to wear a mouthpiece. There's like 40% of people wear mouthpieces.
I'm pretty sure you have to wear a
Quarterbacks don't wear mouthpieces.
Never
A lot
bit
of
your
them don't.
tongue?
Aaron wears a single strap with no mouthpiece. There's plenty of quarterbacks that
Aaron
don't wear one.
freaking Rodgers.
I always thought you had to at least appear as if you were trying to wear a mouthpiece. Like some
No,
guys
you
would
have
just
to
leave
wear.
it in
They
the
made
helmet.
the rules where you
air
had
in
to
your
wear the
mouth?
stupid knee pads. The dumbest rule ever.
Hey, I never had to do that. Shout out to
You're
the
exempt.
NFL's rules saying kickers and punters don't have to wear anything on your legs. I was very thankful because I got massive legs, obviously. Let's show them off. Let's not hide them with little stupid pads that aren't going to do anything.
Yeah, they claim those little knee pads were to cut down on concussions when people's knee, if their knee hit somebody's head.
Oh, so you're not required to wear a mouthpiece in the NFL. It is advised due to the ability levels and strengths of NFL players. So when quarterbacks are sacked, they may clinch their teeth together and knock them out. I didn't know
Knock
that.
your teeth out. Not saying knock yourself out. Knock your teeth out.
Either.
Yeah.
I think
I'd
they
much
wrote-
rather knock my teeth out than my brain go blank.
Absolutely.
So let's go back to your garbage science thing. You're saying mouthpieces because the UFC, I think they force them to wear mouthpieces as well, right?
So they don't get their teeth knocked out because they're getting punched directly in the mouth, Pat. That's why.
Yeah, but I was told that mouthpieces, it saves my jaw from biting into each other and potentially causing a concussion. AJ,
Bite your tongue off.
That makes sense. Hey, that science does make sense when you see it. When you see it in writing and they show the diagrams, they say, "Oh, all this it dissipates all that energy when you clench your teeth." I'm like, "Yeah, it makes sense. It doesn't work, but it makes sense on paper what you're saying."
because you're saying that with a mouthpiece, it makes you actually open your jaw up a little bit more, which gives you a bigger button and maybe a little bit of a looser little pull there.
Maybe, and it makes it a lot more difficult to breathe, difficult to talk. You're taking that thing in and out of your mouth the whole time, sticking it in your face mask, or you have the big dangly deal with the lip guard on top of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think if you want to wear a mouthpiece, great, do it, but don't feel like you have to.
Hey, Listen to that, kids. That's a Super Bowl champion linebacker, AJ Hawk,
5th
right
overall
there.
pick.
So
Mouthpiece helps you not get your teeth knocked out. That it 100% helps with that.
You got a good grill.
I got small little teeth.
It's because your jaw takes up half your face.
Is that because you lost some of your teeth from helmets flying around because you never wore
Grinding
a
them every time you
mouthpiece?
make a tackle.
It's because I chipped off a decent amount of them when my teeth would bite together when I'd hit people.
They clenched together. Yeah, okay, that is exactly all
I
right.
cracked my I had like 3 years worth of root canals when I got done.
Jeez.
But he's still out here.
Worth it.
Hey.
Still out here campaigning though. Fuck
right.
it. Fuck, don't need
Definitely.
it. I thought I bit my.
campaigning hard.
I thought I bit the tip of my tongue off one time. Ooh. College, I forget who we were playing. It was freezing, absolutely freezing outside though, and I didn't wear a mouthpiece in college or whatever. And my hands had gone numb at this point. I think it was third quarter. I kick off since it's so cold. Isn't a touchback. Returner comes out. Okay. Ball gets bumped out. I go dive in because I think I can get it. Okay. Somebody hits me. Top of head, helmet, I get in scrum, okay? I end up not with the ball, by the way. Okay, so everything could go wrong, does go wrong, and I feel like a little pain on my tongue or whatever, and I go to grab it and I can't feel anything. I thought I had no tongue. Like I thought I lost my fucking tongue. So I was like, oh my God. Like I get to the sideline, I go to my friend, I'm like, do I have a tongue? And they're like, oh, you're bleeding. My tongue was bleeding. It had an entire like a couple
marks?
teeth marks all the way around it. Yeah. I thought I lost the son of a bitch. It swelled up a little bit. I couldn't breathe. And I was like, I'm going to start wearing a mouthpiece next game. And then I just never got into it. I never, ever got into it. But I thought I lost my damn tongue. Couldn't feel
That's
it.
That's scary. But what scares me is that part you said when you went diving in and someone hit the top of your head and jammed it down. Like, how did your brain feel?
What's that?
How did your brain feel when you got hit on the very top of your head as you're diving into a pile?
I thought I lost my tongue. To be honest, the brain didn't. I didn't even think about potential broken neck or paralyzed or anything like that. The only thing I thought of is, if I can't talk, I'm going to be talking like this for the rest of my life, like I'm the kid from fucking Christmas Story. That's all on the field as I was jogging off. That's all I thought of was that kid with the big thing stuck on his. I'm like, oh my God, is this my life now? It was not. Thankfully, but that was tough. My thing did swell up though, so I was talking with a little bit of a lisp for like 3-4 days.
That's all right.
Look good on film, I bet.
I think I kind of fell in. It was, I went for it, which I think
Look
people
at the effort.
appreciated.
Hey, the effort.
There was those scrums. I mean, I've only been in a couple of them at this point now. One against, I think, the Cowboys. There was one I got in there, and I came in late. So on film, full scrum. After a kickoff, same thing, fumble, full scrum. I come in late to the pile, but I start working my arm in, and I get my hand on the ball. So I was like, oh, shit. Like, I came in late, and I did it strictly for, I don't want to say, like, comedic
For film
purposes.
the next day.
Yeah, but I was like, I think like I want to be in one of these. I've never been in one of these. Let's see how it goes. So I come diving in late, and I start like moving my hand around the pile, and I get my hand on the ball, and I'm like, fuck, now what am I supposed to do, right? Like, so there's like two people potentially laying down in between us, and I have a ball, and all of a sudden I start getting like punched. Like I start feeling my arm getting punched. And I'm like, I should not be in here, but my hands. I thought there was a chance I was going to be able to win that thing, and all of a sudden out of the bottom of the pile, number one, Pat McAfee comes up with the ball, but instead, somebody took my fingers in there and started like bending them back, and I was like, get me out. I like pulled out, and I like got up, and they obviously kept the ball. It was nasty in there. It was disgusting. I got bruised on my arm. I thought they were going to try to break my fingers in there, but I almost got it. I felt like I almost got the ball. Were you the guy that was doing the finger breaking in those scrums? I would assume that was you.
No, I never really had to do a whole lot of that, but I've been in a ton of those scrums. And I mean, how you describe it's perfect. Like, especially if you can get near the ball, if you get your hand on the ball, like, okay, don't think it's like an innocent, okay, cool, I'm free. I'm gonna grab the tip and start to rip this thing out. No, the second that somebody sees your hand on the ball, you're going to be getting elbows dug into your kidneys. You're going to get everything possible, things jammed into your orifices that you don't even know where it's coming from. Like, it's true. They always talk about, oh, it's crazy in those scrums. Yeah, especially when there's O&D linemen down there, because you know how they like to go back and forth all game. You get down there in those scrums, you start seeing what's being said and what's done, and like, wait, what is this? Why do I have like feels like knives in my back, and dudes are drilling elbows down, trying to split your spine in half? I'm like, man, I don't know. You have to second guess it next time you want to jump in there and try to go after the ball.
I had never. There was a chance I think I could have gotten another one, and I opted out, dog. Listen, I think that one's already long gone. But the fact that
why'd they change the rule? Why'd you change the rule that I can't stand outside the pile and pull guys from their legs and pull them off?
I think people started fighting a lot, I believe. And it also
Did someone get hurt though? Did one person get hurt bad or something?
I think it was whenever they started with the horse collar shit. Remember, they started enforcing the horse collar very, very hard because people were getting tackled by the horse collar and their knees were coming out.
It's amazing that the horse collar was ever allowed. Like I played in the NFL when the horse collar was allowed.
Roy Williams.
Snagged that thing.
Yeah.
And
Specialty.
people's knees just had to get blown out for that. But
How
I
in
think
the world? How did they not ban that earlier? I guess.
Well, there's a lot. Of
there wasn't a lot of science back then. Hey, science didn't exist, you know? It was just like, don't wear your mouthpiece. Don't worry about it. You won't have to do anything type mindset in there. But the horse call, I think whenever it started, they try to make the game safer, player safety. I think that's when it happened. They were like, we can't, and you weren't even allowed to dive into pile anymore. Remember, like, because you're taught as a football player, if there is a scrum, you get your ass in there. Like you are in there. You never know what's going to happen. Nobody knows whose ball it is. The more we have in there, the better than they have. Then all of a sudden, one day it just stopped. They're like, you're not allowed in there anymore. It's a 15 personal foul if you get in there late, unsportsmanlike conduct. And then people started pulling people out. They're like, well, if I'm not allowed in, I'm going to get people out. Then they made another rule, not allowed to pull anybody out of the pile anymore. The pile became a little bit different over the years, but it still gets nasty down there.
It's just not as big. It's not as big now.
Do you think that also because the players know there's like 18 cameras on the pile that they can't be shoving fingers up orifices and stuff like that anymore? They'll get caught on camera.
No, I don't think players care about that.
Hey, the ball. Any team you go to, rule number one is the ball. We either keep it or we steal it. That's what we're trying to do. The ball is the game. And in those scrums, it's legit. Anybody can end up with this because those refs have no idea. Sometimes those refs call it early for somebody, and I'm like, how the fuck do they know? How? Because you see a ref like just look down this way. It's like, how do you know that's whose ball it is? Because I think they were told to maybe make a quicker call too so people would stop fighting under there because kind of give up a little bit of hope. A scrum hurt us in the Super Bowl. That onside kick, ambush. I guess it was a little bit of scrum. Allegedly, people on our team said that they heard them say blue ball or whatever for the Colts. One of the refs said blue ball in that scrum, and then obviously everybody knows Saints ended up with it. They score, and then the game turned around quickly.
Hey, who was it? Was the college game? Was it Clemson, Ohio State when some guys on Clemson defense made a tackle and both of them like checked the oil of the running back and jammed their fingers right up his ass? Or checked
they did
like
like
the credit card.
Yeah, they did a.
That was right out in the open. They didn't care. That wasn't even a scrum. That wasn't like so. Players don't care.
Just playing ball.
Just trying to figure it out.
Just playing ball.
Did you ever end up with were you a guy at the bottom of the scrum that had the ball? Numerous
Yeah, I
occasions?
have, and it feels like an eternity if you do have the ball and you're under there, and they know. A lot of times when you're in the scrum, you can't find the ball and you don't know who has it. So if I had whenever I had the ball in the scrum, I'm trying to not let anybody know I have this thing. Like I'm trying to fake like I'm going for a ball too and sitting on top of it and just like, man, get me out of here. Have the ref call me. Like I'm gonna fake like I'm reaching for something or fake like I'm elbowing someone on my team. As I'm winking at my buddy, I got it. You have to, man, because those dudes are monsters. There's always O linemen, and O linemen, they're so big and strong they could just rip my arms off and take the ball from me if the ref doesn't get in there in time.
Well, especially at the weight you're at now.
Ooh, look at this.
Yeah, there's the butthole finger. Let me go ahead and check that out real quick.
Christian Wilkins, he's hilarious, man.
Hey, sometimes you just got to check the oil. You know what I mean? See what's going on down
Big
there.
mass guy.
Probably with a little ankle twist there as well.
Yeah, a little Kurt Angle. A little ankle break on that thing. When I did the onside kick to myself, I thought I was going to get killed. I thought that was going to be a scrum on top of me.
It should have been.
I agree. And if you see me, if you watch the video back, I lay there and you actually see me with the ball go, oh no. Because I thought it was just going to be two helmets directly into spleen on my back as soon as I laid there. Yeah. And turns out, didn't even get touched. No. Didn't even get touched. I was so pumped. I was like, okay, I don't have to piss blood and we got a ball and I didn't even get touched. Let's get out of here. Thank God.
When I watch that, I get scared for you. Even though I've seen the outcome, I get scared for you. I'm like, oh, this dude's going to get annihilated.
Turn your back.
You executed it beautifully. Like, that's very, very difficult to do. But the fact that you didn't get 2 to 3 helmets all over your back and neck.
You see me whenever I lay down. Literally, I go, oh my God, it's about to come. But let's just hang on here. And then nothing happened. And then my teammates picking me up, and I almost come out of in disbelief. I'm like, oh, okay, what? We did it. Oh, what a moment. Yeah, because I'm not tough enough to take that. They didn't even touch me, though. The guy did 2 hands on my back. I was like, thank you. What a gentleman.
How mad is the special teams coach in Houston for his front line guys that bailed early on you?
So they cut to him in the clip, and he goes very, very openly, fuck me. They show the clip, they show me get tagged down, and then they cut to him on the sideline, and he very clearly, I do a bow obviously once I stand up, they very clearly goes, fuck me. And it was, I felt terrible. Guy's a good guy. The guy was a very good guy. I felt very, very bad about it. Very, very bad.
I've played that front line right in front of the ball on kickoff return, and they always they'll drill it into your head. Hey, do not leave early. They're going to take advantage of it. I assume you saw those frontline guys leave early in weeks before that.
So we kicked an onside kick to the right, and we've kicked one to the left. So they actually had their hands team out and had nobody in the middle. So they actually had nobody in the middle. And either a week prior to that or 2 weeks prior to that. Yeah, so they got nobody near in front. So they got everybody lined up.
Did you make the call on your own here, or to go middle?
Yeah, this was very much a check with me here. So if you look to the right there, they were getting ready for an onside, potentially to right. This was the year that we were just kicking surprise onside kicks all the time. It was awesome. And to be honest, because we were doing that, everybody had their hands team out for us every single kickoff. This is what the rules are now for kickoff return, because they actually studied our film on how many injuries happen, because it's more like a punt return, because the kickoff return is running with the kickoff team as opposed to setting up way back there and going. That's what we faced all year. That's why my touchback percentage, I think, was the highest in the history, because there was nobody to set up blocks. So if I just got that thing 1 yard in the end zone, it was going to be a touchback, because they knew that nobody was able to block anybody because they had their hands team out there. But we kicked one right, we kicked one left, so they had nobody in the middle of the field. And actually a week or two before that, because we kicked one right and to the left, I told Tom McMahon and Chuck, I was like, hey, if there's nobody in the middle, can I just kick it to myself? And they were like, nobody's going to do that, obviously. But if that happens, yeah, almost like shit talking. If they do that, you can do it, right? And I'm like, okay. So we hit the first kickoff, and I go over to Tom McMahon, and I'm like, hey, there's nobody in the fucking middle. There's nobody in the middle. I'm going to do it or whatever. He goes, if you call it, you better get it. And if you don't, just go ahead and walk right off the field, basically. And I was like, you got it. So the next time came out there, I looked at it, and I had a sign for our 2 guys. I would hit my hamstrings. If I tap my hamstrings twice, just stay the hell out, because they would roll in for the coverage. They just stayed out there the whole time, and boom, wide open. I mean, it was just it was a pretty cool little moment.
So did they know, though, the guys, the kickoff team with you, they knew you were kicking in the middle, right to yourself? Were they going to come in as reinforcements and try to knock guys off and not let them hit you?
Kind of, but it wouldn't have happened. In the huddle or whatever beforehand, we call whatever the call is. It was probably maybe deep right or whatever it was. And in the huddle, I say, hey, if I hit my hamstrings here, just stay the fuck out. Because there's one guy on the right and there's one guy on the left who are leading the run. I think it was Colt Anderson, the Montanimal, and I think it was Boom or Luchez Purifor. I forget who it was on the other side. And basically I told him, hey, if I hit my hamstrings, just stay the hell out. And boom, hamstring hit. They just stay out there. And then they come running in afterwards, obviously. But, yeah, I come to the sideline, and Tom McMahon's losing his mind, obviously. He's pumped up about it. Chuck's like, are you kidding me? And then we have a guy named David Thornton, who's the player personnel guy, player development guy. And he's
played. I remember him as a player.
Cool dude. One of the best dudes I've ever been around. He works out, I think, 5 times a day. Just absolute monster. Hasn't done legs in probably 10 years, but he comes up to me and goes, stay humble. And I say, it's going to be fucking hard, DT. And I take my helmet off, and that's right when the camera comes on. I mean, it was, that's a cool moment. That's primetime television too, So that type of stuff it doesn't happen a lot. You don't really get that. They did that in rugby last week.
Were they chirping on their side?
No, it was very frustrating. I mean, we were a problem for kickoff return. I mean, we were a problem. We were kicking so many onside kicks that people were scared to death. I mean, that's a turnover. That's an interception right there. We were running fake punts. We were running onside kicks. I think I had 5, 6 turnovers if you count them as that way in one season.
Quick 2 possessions to start the game.
Yep. Bingo. Here we go. We're off and running. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And when you have a coach like Tom and like Chuck that are like, hey, let's go for it. It's so awesome because all those things, if they don't, work out, boy, you're setting your team up in a terrible position. And you got to really hope everybody's on the same page.
There's a good chance if you don't get that your defense, the whole defense is pretty mad at you. The whole staff, the defensive staff is really mad. The offensive staff is mad as well. And the chances of you getting that onside are probably like 7% for you to kick an onside and get it yourself. Maybe less than that, honestly. It might be less.
It's probably less than that. The colleges pull it off more because they don't have as much speed. The reason why that's tough is because the amount of speed in the NFL. Like, guys, you have to measure, okay, that guy is 22 yards off the line of scrimmage right now. This ball has to travel at least 10 yards. Can he get 12 yards before I can get to 10 and a half yards? That is that is the math equation that you have to do. And in NFL, there's so much speed. It's like I don't know. I think somebody did it last year, I believe. Maybe. I don't know.
You have to kick a perfect ball, though.
Oh, yeah.
Young Ho?
Young Ho.
Did Young Ho did one?
Young Ho might have got it. I don't know. But yeah, I never kicked it that good, by the way, in practice. I mean, that thing just stopped right at 10 yards for me, basically. In practice, it was like I was sprinting, and it was like hopping up next to me, and I was like grabbing it. I was like, oh, yeah, no problem here. No problem at all. And then the one in the game just died perfectly.
Jason Sanders
for Miami.
Dolphins, yeah.
Good for him.
Well, with their setup there, though, the Texans, when they left nobody in the middle, the players, sure, like you can try to blame the players, but it's ultimately on the coach there. If that's your setup, like I played front line, and I know I've had people surprise onside me where I left a step or two early, and it happened because for 85 other kickoff returns, I left a little bit early. I started to leave a little bit early, and then you get comfortable doing that, and then boom, someone bunts one at you.
Oh, we're just watching that too.
What?
Just you. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Hey, the right guard up here on the front line right here, AJ Hawk, fifth overall pick right here. They got him in here just like so he can earn his stripes or whatever. He hates it. Look at him. You are 3 feet away from the ball, and he's already turning. If we need one, right there's the guy you need to go to.
Yeah, you guys will single him out real fast. I know you will. I remember my freshman year in college, we were playing against Miami. It was a national championship. And I was like, all right, first kickoff of the game. I'm on front line right in front of the ball. I'm like, I'm not going to leave early, man. I gotta stay with it. I'm not leaving early. All of a sudden, I sit there. I watch the kickoff. This is the start of the game. I watch them kick it off. I'm like, okay, cool. It's deep. I turn around. I take off. I sprint back. I'm maybe 40 yards. And I turn around, and the guy I'm supposed to block is like 30 yards past me, already tackling the ball carrier. And so I was like, all right. I was about 80 yards deep then when the kicker would get to the ball the rest of the game because I was like, these guys are too fast. I can't get back there. And then we turn around after that first kickoff. I'm talking to my buddies, and I'm like, hey, did you get your guy? They're like, hell no, I didn't even see my guy. So all of us just had to leave early.
Hey, those special teams guys, you got some freak athletes on there, especially down at the U or whatever, the guys that maybe couldn't make the backups there that were just freak athletes.
Like a 4.25 right past you, and they're super physical. And you're like, geez, man, why isn't this guy's the best football player I've ever seen in my life? It happens.
After I made a couple of tackles and we kicked a couple onside kicks, Tom McMahon every single week was scared that they were going to send a guy. So I kick off, guy doesn't turn, just comes right at me basically, like to get me rattled or whatever, So like opening kickoff, Tom would be like, whatever, and he'd be like, let's go, baby. And then he'd be like, eyes up after you kick, by the way. Eyes up after you kick, because it was always a fear that I would kick one, I'd have my head down still, and as soon as I lift up my head, there's a guy there potentially to take me out. And there was a couple times I thought a guy was going to come kill me. I olayed a guy one time, felt really athletic about that. And then there was one guy that just danced with me, and I was very thankful because he could have if he really
wanted. Are they allowed to do that anymore? Are you allowed to go pick off the kicker?
No, they changed that rule because it wasn't just the kicker that was getting picked off. Like, we did it to the Broncos, and I felt terrible about it. They had a stud on special teams, and he was making every single play for their kickoff team, their punt team, everything. So we just had a guy, as soon as the kickoff happened, okay, you just get him from line of scrimmage all the way down, and it ended up being a big collision. Guy got hurt, I think, for the game or whatever. So he didn't get hurt, like, for the rest of the season, but I think for, like, the quarter or whatever. And we thought for the rest of the year then somebody was going to send one back at us, like, because we did that. So now it's like, hey,
it's
fucking
like baseball.
What's that?
It's like baseball when you hit their guy. Like, hey, all right, one of us is getting hit next inning.
And in the special teams, that's its own individual war going on between special teams coordinators.
The special teams coordinators are always absolutely crazy, roller coasters of emotion throughout the week, and especially on game day. They drank 87 Red Bulls and 40 cups of coffee before and during the game, and they're just run up and down trying to herd cattle and try to make sure you get 11 guys on the field.
Yeah, that's Mitt's like, that is an accurate statement. That is what my father's been like for 20 years now. That is exactly what it is. It's awesome,
That's
though.
that's every special team. That's why special teams coaches are awesome, because they're always like good, fun dudes, but they're all crazy and they all have a weird manic energy.
Love ball.
Oh, and they know how to bring all these guys together. It's such a tough job. You're coaching a bunch of guys who don't want to be there, who think they should be starting on offense or defense, and you got to make them go run 80 yards down the field and try to Olay guys or try to take on a blocker and then make a tackle. Like, all of it, it's real tough. It is. Honestly, I give those guys a ton of credit. The special teams coaches that are good, I give them a lot of credit.
You said those guys all think they should be starting. Their entire lives they've been starting. Their entire lives they've been stars. And it's like, now I need you to pass set for a punt. It's like, I'm not on a fucking punt team. I'm the guy. It's like, well, right now there's about 4 other guys that are all older and richer and better than you. So you want to pass set here, or do you want to get out of here? And then it's like, well, now we got to teach them how to properly do a pass set in their 21st year of football, potentially. It's like, it is an insane thing. The fact that it even happens is wild. Let's pivot to defense, though. Let's talk about defense. We talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are primed for a dynasty. We all know that. Everybody's talking about it, including the players on their team. The way they're setting up contracts, they want to do it. Patrick Mahomes released a video the day he signed this massive deal and said, we're preparing for a dynasty here. That's what we're trying to create. They're paying everybody. Boom. In a couple of years, 2 of their offensive linemen are going to be up that are very important to their offensive line. And I think their offensive line is kind of an underappreciated part of that entire Kansas City Chiefs team, because they're able to have open backfield. They're able to not even have to chip some players. Now, granted, their offense opens up the defense a lot. But if they have 1 or 2 weak offensive linemen, does that change the entire Kansas City Chiefs completely? And how do they pay everybody that they're going to potentially need going forward?
So what, Mitchell Schwartz, they're going to have to pay him next year, I think, one of their O-linemen.
It is,
the thing is
Mitchell Schwartz is in 2022.
Okay. So,
as well as Eric
if there's-
Fisher.
If there's 1 or 2 weak links, you know that, Pat. Like, you know from watching special teams. Like, say you saw me in the front line, like, all right, we need an onside. We're going after this dude. He's leaving early. You do the same thing if you're a D coordinator, if you're a defensive guy, especially if you're trying to rush a passer like Patrick Mahomes. You're thinking, what's the easiest way we can get to him? Well, there's no easy path, but we're going to go after whoever their weak link is. So if they have a weak link, especially a guy like Pat Mahomes, I want to get pressure on him from the middle. I want to try to push the pocket, make him not ever feel comfortable, have to look over top of people, do all that. So you need to find a way, like if you can see between their 2 guards and their center, if you can find some kind of weak link between those 3 guys and just work it all game long and always make Pat Mahomes uncomfortable. So if you do, like, you need to the best thing that the Chiefs could have is have like a cohesive unit that is together for a long time. They start a ton of games together and they know each other well and they don't even have to communicate. Like, that's the ideal world when you're talking offensive linemen.
The thought of the defense isn't allowed to play a lot of games, though. Can't play a lot of stunts with the way the Kansas City Chiefs offense is, though, right? Because if you bring an extra man, that means somebody's open. And Patrick Mahomes, I believe, is very good.
You don't have enough time. You don't have enough time to run your little game to get to Mahomes because he's going to see it, boom, get to it like before you could even get to him.
So it's almost like they need good, I don't want to say one-on-one blocker, but they're going to face 4 probably every time, and that's it. They just their 5 need to beat those 4 for that offense to operate, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You do, and you need to you're going to have to bring more than 4 at times. That's for sure. 4, 5, and 6 guys you'll bring. You just got to pick and choose when that happens. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you think about it, though, it all comes down. A lot of it comes down to third down. People have their different theories, like, oh, well, you have to win first down if you want a chance to win third down. Okay, that makes sense. Yes, it does. But when do guys get paid? Guys get paid on third down, whether you're an outside rusher, whether you're a lockdown corner, if you're a left tackle, if you're a quarterback. Like, what's your third down completion percentage? How do you keep drives alive? Are you a steady, reliable tight end that converts a bunch of third downs for your offense? Like, that's so gigantic. And on third down a lot of times what you're going to get. That's when teams play matchup coverage, and they may bring an extra blitz. They're going to man blitz, zone blitz a little bit, but usually man blitz. It's always third and medium, third and short. You got to find a way to get pressure and have big guys like Chris Jones on their defensive side, then get his hands up and get in the throwing lane so there's no easy little balls underneath.
The slot receiver role really came to be because of third down success rate. I mean, if you look back.
And you can't hit them anymore. You used to be able to hit them and beat the hell out of them. They couldn't come across the middle. Now they get all the free access they want.
Soft. game's gone soft.
Not my football.
Not my football.
That's not my football.
It's fun to watch. Game's fun to watch, I guess. They want to score points. I like seeing them score points, so I understand the rule.
Hey, me too, by the way. Like, I know that it's terrible for defensive coordinators and defensive players, like the rules, or you can't do this, you can't do that, can't touch here, you can't slow them down, you can't get in the way of the – and I understand that, but, boy, I enjoy seeing some awesome offensive plays happen.
Bend that over,
That's
too.
just a shame.
I mean, think of Edelman in the Super Bowl. Edelman was Super Bowl MVP and absolutely was on fire. Like, they couldn't cover the dude. Like, they're trying to cover him with backers, corner, nickel, safety, whoever you put. It doesn't matter. The dude's just so good in the slot, and Tom Brady has so much trust in him. We will see. Does Cam Newton have the same amount of trust in Julian Edelman as Tom did?
Okay, let's talk about Cam Newton. Did you see that video that Odell Beckham Jr. put out on his YouTube with him, Victor Cruz, Todd Gurley, and Cam Newton chit-chatting around a interestingly lit table?
I did not actually see the video. I saw like a screenshot of it, but I didn't see the whole video.
So Cam Newton talked about how he was self-aware enough that when he heard the Patriots were interested to ask the question, like, are me and Bill Belichick going to be able to work? And I think that's very interesting because a lot of people this morning on TV were talking about how that you see that's already a question that he shouldn't be asking because now he's trying to act as if him and Bill are on the same level and it'll work if you just do your job. And I understand that. I agree with all of that. But anybody who doesn't think that the head coach and the starting quarterback have to have a good relationship or be on the same page, I don't think they fully understand the way a locker room operates. Bill and Cam are going to have to be able to get along. And I think with this new Bill Belichick, I think they're going to be able to. He's got his dog doing the fucking draft. Yep. He's doing Subway commercials. He's winning Emmys. He very much understands that Cam is a different player. He said we'll strategize around his strengths. I think they're going to get along very well, but I like the fact that Cam Newton was like, me and Belichick, I don't know if this is the right move here.
If I was a Patriots fan or I was someone out there, like you said, we're saying, oh, he shouldn't even be asking that, I'd go the opposite way. I'd say absolutely not. I'm glad that Cam has that awareness. Agreed. That he's saying, like, yeah, this is the Patriots. We all know about like the vaunted Patriot way, and you know, people talk about how it may not be fun. And my whole life, like, I want to have fun and put out good content. Can this work? I think it's awesome that he's actually thinking that far ahead. He doesn't he's not just an egomaniac that says, what do you mean I'm so good? Of course, Bill's got to like me. That's what it is, right? Like, no, Cam's actually thinking about it.
He said 86 days he was unemployed, and he was asking his agent about teams. I assume the same teams that we were asking, like, the Jags don't want him? The Jags don't want him? No. Miami doesn't want him? No. Buffalo don't want him? No. Chargers don't want him? No. Bears don't want him? Like, these are things we were asking. I assume Cam was potentially doing the same thing to his agent, and he said his agent would be like, no, they're not interested or whatever. Like, all the teams. So Cam has this, I mean.
He's got a list. He's got a list over there. He crossed off everybody but the Patriots, huh?
Boy, I'm happy I called that guy. Billy Madison.
What do you think about Big Bill Belichick in the Subway commercial? Is he? I love it. Is he the next like Jared Fogle of Subway?
Whoa! Is
he the
What the fuck?
Is he the face of Subway? Is all I'm asking.
What's your problem?
Bro, what is your problem?
My problem. You're the guy. You took it that way. I'm strictly asking about the brand of Subway, not in the subs. I'm not asking about what
There's been a lot of other people since.
Yeah, Robert Griffin.
Fogle has been incarcerated for.
I know, but none of them have caught on as the face of Subway.
Charlie Puth had a shot.
Yeah.
Paulo Antonono.
Yeah.
Justin Tuck.
You ever heard of him? Okay.
The Watts, aren't the Watt brothers on there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are they? Yeah, they are. Did you say they're Fogle-like? No. Jeez. Only Bill Belichick. Wow.
Same outfit as Fogle.
Because none of them have stuck. No one's stuck as the face of Subway yet. So I'm wondering if this is the new face.
I like that Bill Belichick has become this guy, though. Like, I love it. You know, a man who has obviously only focused on football for the last 70 years of his life.
Yep.
Right? The fact that now he's starting to open up and like show a little, like, I like this a lot. That NFL Top 100 show, I love that show. Like, I enjoyed listening to his brain. He was kind of like marking out a little bit to old historic football. Like, it was cool to hear him. The Do Your Job documentary where he sits down and chats as opposed to what he does on the press conferences. Then even this little thing, his dog, the interviews he's been doing. I mean, It's like we've seen a brand new Bill Belichick at this point, just like we've seen a new Roger Goodell. This is a whole different Bill Belichick 2.0 for the Patriots dynasty 2.0 continued with a Cam Newton at your quarterback. We could see the best Bill Belichick of all time still, just like we could still see the best Cam Newton we've ever seen before. The opportunities are legitimately endless at this point.
Woo! Oh, they are. When I saw these pictures of Bill Belichick doing a Subway commercial, I just instantly said to myself, they had to pay this dude like $5 or $10 million.
So much fucking money.
It had to be one of those deals where he's like, well, it's too good to turn down, I guess. I gotta do it.
Well, I gotta get sandwiches.
Normally I eat Firehouse subs that are founded by firemen because their sandwiches are a little bit better and they got all the hot sauces. But if these motherfuckers are going to pay me $10, $15 million to eat a sub that I don't really want to eat anyways, I will do that on a park bench wearing khakis whenever, however the hell they would like us to.
Did anyone else think it was on the set of like Forrest Gump? I honestly thought it was like this is the next Forrest Gump movie, and I was so excited.
It was somewhere in Boston, wasn't it, Connor?
Oh, yeah, I believe that's Beacon Street.
Nailed it.
They already got their money's worth.
Yeah,
Right
by the way,
right by the Wilbur
100%.
Theater, right? In the Wilbur Theater over there in Boston.
Hey,
I don't know if it's by the Wilbur. It also might be on Newberry. Who knows? I'm not sure.
Subway took a massive hit, obviously, when the whole, their entire franchise guy, who's from Indiana, which isn't good, did the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they try to bring back the $5 footlong, but you have to spend $15 to get
Yeah.
the $5
Yeah.
footlong first. Subway
really
has
struck
been in
me.
quite a what's that play? Purgatory.
Yeah.
They've been in quite a purgatory since the situation. Maybe Bill Belichick, just like he did to the Patriots organization, takes him over the top. Subway's back. Here we are. BLT, BMT, meatball.
Tuna.
Good
Spicy
meatball sub.
Italian.
Belichick does seem like a meatball sub guy. He feels like the meatballs would just fall out and get all over. his
How do
shirt.
people
So
like meatball
dirty.
subs?
Oh,
I
so
still makes no
Disgusting.
sense to me.
Throw some
that-
pepperonis on those.
One of the
too.
best subs of all time.
No
great.
way, it's
No.
not a sub though. You're getting
What
like
do you mean?
Not from Subway.
You are
Why the
talking
fuck
about
are you doing it?
Nick's
You
favorite
meatballs.
sub.
Meatball
Meatball
on a
subs
sub.
all time.
No, meatball subs are just terrible. You get
What
one
are you
bite.
talking about?
Oh, let me get this bite of bread. Okay, thank you so much. I want to get this bite of meatball.
This is because you don't like sauce. This is all it is.
I don't like sauce. You're right, but I don't like not having a fucking meat in my sandwich either. If I wanted a bread sandwich with
talking about?
some
It's a
meat, I
ball
would
of
do
meat.
that.
Bread with sauce is like the third best sandwich of all time.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, think about how many people enjoy bread with sauce.
I love sauce.
So add a meatball in there, best
Us
sandwich of all
Italians,
time.
we'll dunk
I'm
our
on
bread
Pat's
right in the
side here.
sauce. Just eat it. You
Yeah,
don't
but
count it.
That's not a sandwich. What you're talking about is a pre-meal hors d'oeuvre type thing.
Depending.
That
So
is
now you
exact-
make that pre-meal hors d'oeuvre type thing into a sandwich.
No,
With
what you're
meatball.
making is something that's a waste of time, waste of energy, and a fucking terrible
can't-
bite in every
No.
other bite.
No, that's-
Meatball subs, worst subs of all time. Don't want it, can't have it. It's not even a sub. It's a waste of time and space.
No.
Disgusting.
Yeah, can't have it. You're right, man. I would never order a meatball sub.
Me neither.
Come on.
What do you do? Why not just get the meatballs by themselves? And
Where
then,
you gonna put 'em
Meatballs in a bowl and then order whatever sub you want on the side.
and then maybe put the bread on like a cracker. That's what you should do because that's what a fucking sandwich tastes like every other bite. Anyways, it just is no. And then it gets saucy. It trips off the back. It's all. It's
And
the
you
worst
call
sandwich.
yourself Italian.
I like the Italian. Now the Italian sub is one I can
good
get
sub.
around. You know
It's a
why?
good sub.
Every taste,
Good
every
sub.
single bite has a taste of. Oh, this is a sandwich. This isn't just stale ass bread with terrible marinara sauce on it. Looking for
No.
meatball meat.
I mean, stop getting your meatball subs at Subway. That's the first problem.
Yeah, Italians no meatball.
That's how this whole conversation started. Is Subway meatball sandwich?
But what about like a meatball ogie from someplace? Nice
still a waste.
meatball hoagie.
The ogie, then that bread's probably too big anyways. You might as well just go ahead and eat a piece of toast and then have a piece of meat every once in a while.
But they're loading it up with meatballs.
No.
And it's fresh bread. I mean,
Can't
this
do
is
it
brand
because
new
the way
bread.
the bread is, well, you can't do it because then the meatball rolls around anyways. It's a waste.
Squeeze
It's
tighter.
the worst sandwich of all time.
Squeeze
It's a hand
tighter, like
placement.
big
It shouldn't
bread on
even be
his
an
bologna.
option at places if they want to be a legitimate sandwich place.
Leave that out.
So Connor, are you going to eat a meatball sub from Subway now that Bill Belichick endorses it?
Every single meal. That's my plan. I mean,
Bill
I think
Belichick's
meatballs-
not eating a meatball sub there,
It looks like he's eating a Philly cheesesteak.
which, by the way, good sub.
It might be an Italian.
Is that a real sandwich or is that a prop
It looks like
sandwich?
roast
taking a
beef.
Hey, can
bite
you
out
zoom
of it.
in on that picture on the right seat?
That is dark.
Oh yeah, pull one. He's got it pulled
Yeah,
up.
zoom in on that guy.
Kind of looks like roast beef.
Yeah.
I mean, any sandwich now from Subway is, it's fair game just because Bill's the head
By the way,
sponsor.
roast beef sandwich, an actual sandwich because there is meat in every single bite, basically. Meatball sandwich, Not really. It's a bread sandwich with every once in a while a side of meat.
Bread with sauce, unbelievable. Probably one of the best, secondary sandwiches out there.
I went ham on the BMT there for a while, the bigger, meatier, tastier. Oh, it's like an Italian on steroids over there.
Black Forest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how did this production crew get the green light to film a commercial in Boston,
too.
Belichick. Anything Belichick needs to do, it gets cleared.
He didn't have a mask on because it would be tough to eat any sub with a mask on.
He did in one of the pictures though. When he's walking, he had one hanging like off his ear that he obviously had on before he got like in that seat.
I've seen a lot of people on camera have a mask on, and then shots of them off camera not having masks on.
It's all about the optics. Have you done the show in a full mask before?
We're socially distanced here.
Yeah.
Zito did for a day.
Yep.
We're
It
socially
was a
distanced
diet
here.
mask. I was eating too much.
Our office was basically built to be socially distanced, which is very nice.
Perfect.
Couldn't even
You're
do
right.
it if we
I know
wanted.
you guys definitely when you leave the studio you stay 6 feet
Yep.
apart too.
Yeah,
When
well,
you're
we
out
go out the
putting
door
the
one at a
golf balls
time.
and shooting basketballs.
It's like wedding meal serving, like table one will go, they go out, table two goes out, and then we have the X's on the floor like the stores.
I know. I've been there. I was
also.
actually there right before the COVID situation kind of hit.
I don't. I'd rather meet up for COVID than a meatball sub.
Shame on
They're so
agree.
bad.
you. Delicious.
I'm happy I got that off my chest. I thought about that yesterday. Wow, I was watching him eat a sub that wasn't a meatball sub. I said, thank fucking God that Bill Belichick has a little bit of couth. That might be an Italian.
Yeah, it might be.
That's like
ham, turkey.
turkey
ham?
ham.
There's definitely a turkey ham
Yeah,
situation.
looks like
I know
it
he
could
loves
be a
turkey.
piece of bacon in there, maybe.
There's quite the grip on the sub there too.
Well, that's
Big Ben
normal
grip.
size for Bill Belichick.
That's twice, Connor. One more time, we're gonna have an issue.
What'd he say?
He keeps talking about Big Ben gripping penis-shaped food items.
All I said was Belichick's got the Roethlisberger salami stranglehold on his sandwich. It's not a bad thing.
All right.
It's a good grip.
That's
You
the
get
show.
on the Peppies in the strip, you get a Roethlisberger. Okay, we're
That
talking
is
about it.
the show.
It's a good grip.
From all of us to all you, we can't thank you enough. Wait. Listen, we've been talking about this for weeks. AJ took it to the golf course last week to train and warm up at the driving range. He was dialed in. You saw him. Everybody saw the picture. He had his wireless earbuds in from Raycon because they have a noise isolating fit where he couldn't hear any of the bullshit from any of the other competitors. Now, the 19 people that lost to AJ, they refused to eliminate the distractions like Ray J did with his Raycon wireless earbuds, and that is why AJ is a Super Bowl champion, because he listens with Raycon. Isn't that right, AJ?
Yes, that is correct. And I actually got my 2 oldest kids a pair of Raycons as well because they've been asking about it and they are in love. They love these things.
You know what's good about the Raycon E25 everyday earbuds is they come in a lot of fun and cool colors, which I assume your kids enjoy. Mm-hmm. And then they also send different size ear hole things to put on the end of it. For instance, AJ and I have weird ear holes. Things don't stay in my ear. It has been a lifelong problem. I normally have to have terrible headphones that have strapped around the whole thing. The Raycon wireless earbuds come with different size things to penetrate your hole. I got the ones that fit my hole perfectly in here. They will have your size as well. They got AJ's kids' sizes in there while matching up with that big ass ear that he has on those heads.
This is all true. There's like, they send you 30 different ear hole sizes, it seems like. You have a whole list of it. You could try them out for days.
How do they make any money sending all those ear hole things? And they are half the price of other premium wireless brands.
Care about the
Good
customer.
question.
I don't know, man. They just want to put out great products, I guess.
It was co-founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Snoop, Double G, Cardi B, Melissa Etheridge, Brandy, and J.R. Smith are obsessed with Raycons. You can add AJ Hawk to that list of celebrities that are obsessed. The compact carrying case can charge earbuds 4 times on a single charge. And unlike the other wireless options, Raycon earbuds are both stylish and discreet with no stupid-ass dangling wires or stems. Isn't that right?
That is correct.
Great for video chats. Hey, you got a lot of video chats? Don't look like a stooge like all your friends that have the stupid wireless or the wires hanging out there, maybe the stupid thing. Raycon's taking care of that problem while you're plugged in for a beautiful conversation. They sound just as amazing as the other top audio brands, are in half the price. Raycons are great for working from home, working out, doing Zoom conferences. You get it. Listening to music or podcasts for hours. 8 hours! years without driving your roommates, significant other, children, or neighbors crazy. The everyday E25 earbuds are the best model yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. It also comes in new fun colors. Go to buyraycon.com/sports talk for 15% off your order, brought to you by Raycon. That's buyraycon.com/sports talk for 15% off your order. Shout out to Raycon. I don't know how they're making any money. They're going to be giving away the business right now. Half the price, and they give you all those options for your ears. I mean, it is.
How do they do it?
They can't be making any money. But hey, that's on them. We get to enjoy the benefits of it. 15% off buyraycon.com/sports talk. AJ, anything before we go that you have to say to anybody?
No, I think I'm good, except for I'm on board 100% with the meatball sub thing. I'm glad you brought it up. I've never voiced that myself, but you reminded me of my feelings towards that.
I hate them.
It's just sloppy and soggy bread, and like you said, no bite. Like every 4 bites, you get a little bit of a meatball, and you might grab the whole meatball in one bite. You might get a little sliver of it, but you're gonna have a ton of bread, and then all of a sudden the meatballs fall out the back.
We don't have time for your sub to be deucing out meatballs at the back end.
Oh, what do you guys eat? Your
With
Snickers
what? The
a
blood
fork and a knife,
marinara.
too? You're
Eat
afraid to
your
get your hands
subs.
a little dirty?
Jeez.
No, but I'd like to just enjoy my sandwich
You eat
without.
wings? You cry about wings when you get a little sauce on your hands?
Hold it
No,
from
I don't
the
get a
back.
little sauce in my hands because I get them dry and then I dip them into sauce because that is the cheat code whenever you're getting wings delivered so they don't get all disgusting in the box.
Still gets on your hands.
No, I actually do the. For the flat one, I saw that the internet started showing that. I've been doing that for years. No big deal, professional wing eater and then the thing. But no, it's a stupid sub.
It's a great sub.
It's a stupid sub.
Best sub out there.
What's that?
Best sub out there.
Listen,
It's easy to make. It's delicious.
did you hear what
It
just
shouldn't be a
who
sub.
said
It
what?
should not be a sub.
Filling.
Why shouldn't it be a sub? It's in a sub
should be-
sandwich. It's a
you
meatball
can
sub.
have-
What do you mean it shouldn't be a sub?
It subs
You can have bread or you can have meatballs. I don't think you should combine them.
I don't think so either because the shape of the meatball, by the way, is not meant to be in a sandwich. That's why it's so despicable. It's rolling around on a stupid
Flatten it
bread.
out.
Oh
if you
my
flatten it out
gosh.
and make it a patty of meatball,
That's what
A
I'm
panini?
saying. That's why you don't go to those stooges at Subway. You
Right.
go somewhere where they slice it diagonally
Thank
and then
you.
they stack your meatball.
No, but I don't
Yes,
like the round top.
Donato's
Still,
does it right.
Yeah, Donato's does do it right.
but I think they should slice the middle and just give me the middle. I would like
We're
the
gonna do
top
and bottom.
and the bottom of the meatball out of my fucking
You
sandwich.
throw them out?
No.
Yeah, I don't care.
No.
Get them away from me. I'm paying to eat. I'm paying to eat
Don't
some
do
meat
that.
here.
Not to the meatballs.
You elitists. I can't handle it.
Yeah.
No, I've hated this since I was dead broke. I just won't let you
throw
know.
it out.
You should have seen
Just take
broke
the
Back.
middle.
I fucking hated it. I actually went into
What do you want
Subway.
to do? Just gather them all up in a garbage bag, dump them off for the poors to eat?
No, leave them in the pasta. Put the meatball in the fucking pasta. Don't make it a full-time sandwich. Get it out of here.
Listen, you can't have the stumps of the meatballs just laying around everywhere.
If you want to have a good sandwich, have the stumps of the meatball laying around everywhere. Tired of it. I would assume that the YouTube comment section is on my side because they're civilized with big brains. Me and AJ are right. You guys are all wrong.
There's people on Twitter trying to cancel you right now.
What?
Meatball subs.
I don't care. See you later to that group.
Forever.
Hey, cool glasses.
Cool
Glasses.
glasses.
Cool glasses.
Cool glasses.
Cool
Cool
glasses.
meatball sub.
Hot dog, by the way, is a sub.
Oh no.
It is not a sandwich or anything like that. It is actually a sub because the bread is connected. You see, if the bread was not connected, it would be a sandwich. Since the bread is connected, a hot dog is a sub, very much more so than a meatball sub, which is barely a fucking sub. It's a terrible sandwich.
Wow, I did not know that.
I was
Well,
about
how
to
about
agree
a
with
hot
you.
dog?
sub on a hot dog bun? Would that be better?
Even worse.
Well, that's even
Even
worse
worse.
because then it squeezes the meatball out, and then it's like impossible. I mean, there's nothing good about a meatball sub. I go to a place where there's only meatball subs. I know I hate the people that are running the event.
Meatball sandwich,
These
maybe.
people stink. These people don't care if I have any enjoyment with my taste buds. They don't.
Rudy's used to work there. Favorite sandwich place of all time.
Never served it.
Wouldn't do it.
Wouldn't do it. Can't do it.
Sorry,
Won't do it.
more-
We're out. See you later. Get pasta.
I see meatballs back there though, sir.
No, we're out.
Nah.
Those
That's
are
for the pasta where meatball's supposed to be.
I think next time, Pat, you need to go to a Subway, have Zito film this, and tell him, hey, just cut the middle out of your meatballs. I don't care what you do at the top and bottoms, but just cut the middle. You're going to have to cut about 600 meatballs just to give me enough meat to put on this so-called meatball sub, but it's going to taste great, and it's not going to flop out the back and get all soggy.
Do we want to fix a meatball sub or not, Mr. Subway?
Yeah.
Mr. Subway, what are we doing? Are we trying to fix this or not?
Maybe they brought Bill in to fix the meatball sub.
Bill Belichick is definitely strategizing on how to fix that trash sandwich and make it better for the rest of the world.
There's nothing to fix, boys. This is a meatball sub we're talking about. And think about the meatball sandwich might be pretty revolutionary. That's a
Hey,
great
this is how you
idea.
can do
That's a
It's on the
cheeseburger.
board too.
Connor, I think for next show, Pat, I think Connor should get a double meatball sub, and he should eat it on air and show us how cleanly he can eat this.
Okay.
No,
Fine, I'll do
single
that
meat.
immediately.
Get the sandwich how it's supposed to be.
Okay, yeah,
I don't want a
single.
double meat. I want a single meatball sandwich so that you have to eat that trash bread bite every other bite with that thing. And then when it starts rolling out the backside like deer turds falling out of a thing, I want it all to happen.
I'm
Can I do
pumped.
this too? I love.
Zito's trying to get free food out of this. We got you, bub. We'll make that happen. I thought about that yesterday, so I'm happy that came up. I did not expect you all to be such meatball lovers. Though. I did not know people actually like that sandwich. I didn't see how it was possible.
Kind of guys, you know.
Meatball sub's the best.
Meatball sub is not a Rust Belt sandwich.
So it's the sub of the
It
day.
is not a Rust Belt sandwich. It's a waste of space and a waste of money. Rust Belt people don't do
Oh
that.
my goodness.
I'm actually starting to wonder if you guys are elitist because you're just okay with buying a sandwich that is, what, 1/3 filled with meat that it's supposed to be filled with?
I'd never do it from Subway ever.
No, you
I'd
can't.
eat a bullet before I
Can't
got
do
a
it for
Subway
Subway.
meatball.
That's
sub.
like going to that drive-through Italian food place. You can't do that either.
Fazoli's.
Hey, Fazoli's is pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
hey,
good.
there you
So
go.
good.
It's
Love
not.
Fazoli's.
Try a meatball sub from Fazoli's. It'll change your fucking life. Yeah.
Pretty good.
He's right.
Pretty good.
Out here in the Midwest, the Italians just never made their way out here, right? So that is, the Italians are a tribal group, right? They're only going to stay around each other. And there hasn't been many that have made their way out to the Midwest. And this was a slap in my face because I grew up around too many of them. So, like,
So sorry.
food was always an opportunity. Like, and then you come out to Indiana, and it's like, no, there's no Italians out here. So I'm like, what Italian food do you guys eat? And they're like, Olive Garden. I'm like, okay, I love Olive Garden. I get it. Is there anything else? And they're like, Fazoli's. And I drive by Fazoli's, and it is a drive-through Italian place. And I'm like, listen, I'm Irish. I am not going to disrespect the Italians by even going to this. So 1 year passes, 2 years pass. Then finally, it's the only thing open. I go to it. It was fucking delicious. It was very, very good.
Piping
It is
hot
good.
breadsticks.
Oh, it was very good
I
drive-through
grew up
Italian.
going to
Yeah.
Fazoli's. Fazoli's is legit, man. I don't think you can knock it. You'll
Very
find something
legit.
you like there.
You guys have clearly never sat down for Sunday sauce. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you have to get past that and just understand.
can't do it. Won't do it.
Yeah, you have to do it, though. Have to do it.
I
out
see
here.
it for Fazoli's. I say, how you doing? Keep it moving. I mean, I respect they're just conning everyone out here in the Midwest who has no idea, but
It's genius.
Well, Nick loves it, and he's an Italian man.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I unlike Diggs, will accept what I can get when it comes to this.
Well, that's because you're more Italian than Diggs. Diggs is an
Oh,
Italian.
shit. Oh, shit. Who's
That's a good
more
point.
Italian off? Italian off!
Normally, I would say don't divide us like that, but he didn't really stick up for the meatball sub that much, so I'm kind of.
He's very quiet because he hates it, too, because he knows. He knows. Don't you, Diggs?
love the same. Love the meatballs.
What are you scared to pick a side? You think that you're scared to pick a side on a meatball sub conversation?
I cannot talk down on a meatball in any fashion.
They stink.
It's tough to eat, though. I mean, it's
It is
tough
tough to eat.
Oh!
A sandwich is supposed to be
See?
convenient to eat. That's what a sandwich is. Bang, we're putting it in here. Let's keep it moving. This is a sandwich. You think back to the beginning of sandwiches, it's because they had a meal, they put it into one. It's easy, convenient, and fast to eat. Then you get the meatball sub. It's the direct opposite of that, and you're getting bites that have absolutely nothing in them. It is a disgrace to sandwiches. The meatball sub.
That was easy to eat.
I was 7 years old when I had my first one. I tried my second one at 12 and never again.
Yep, see that? That's a guy that knows what he likes and what he doesn't like. And what he likes is good stuff, and what he doesn't like is terrible things like the fucking meatballs that you guys like. That's the show. AJ, thanks for everything today. Good to see you on a Wednesday.
Thank you.
The greatest sports talk show on the internet from 1 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. So come on down for a mental vacation with the boys on YouTube Live. It's McAfee and Hulk. It's McAfee and Hulk Sports Talk. AJ used to tackle quarterbacks and he's a Rust Belt kind of guy. That's the punter of the decade for the 2010s, kicking Pierce missiles to the sky. It's McAfee and Hulk. It's McAfee and Hulk Sports Talk. It's McAfee Sports Talk.